Hey, what is going on everybody? It's me, Jake, and today I've got a topic that is very close to my heart. I actually wanted to film this 5 years ago when I went through my first breakup. That first breakup nearly ended up taking my life, and I cringe, but the reality of it is it was really hard for me to get through it. Now, part of the reasons it was hard for me to get through was because it was pretty much the first time I'd been emotionally hurt, and secondly, I didn't have coping mechanisms in place. I didn't know the things that I know now, and that's why I want to share it with you, because if you're at that point, I'd hate for you to feel like you're alone in this, because with breakups often comes anxiety and depression, both which feel incredibly isolating. And even though depression is so isolating, it's the most common mental illness around the world. So I want you to know you're not alone in this. In this video, I am going to be brutally honest. However, first I want to say you will get through this. It will feel like absolute torture. I'm not going to downplay a breakup. It feels absolutely torturous. However, you can get through it. At one point in time, you're going to have to decide though, are you going to keep wallowing in self-pity or decide to liberate yourself, step up and get over it? There's no real in between. You can sit there and wallow and be sad, but if you don't actually just get your ass up and start achieving things, don't expect to improve. The same goes for anything in life. You don't go and play professional sports by not doing anything. Another truth is everything is your fault and you do not deserve closure. Humans don't deserve to give you closure. You might feel like you'd want it, but it doesn't mean you're deserving of it. And the minute you can change this mindset and keep yourself accountable for everything, it'll start to change the lens at which you look life through. All these things, they're your fault. And I need you to know that. It sounds absolutely bizarre and painful, but the truth is, if your relationship was good enough and everything was right, you would not have broken up. Anyway, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy the video. This really comes from a place from my heart, and yeah. To give a little bit of backstory, I had my first serious relationship at the mere age of 18. It came to an end. So that was a year and a half that absolutely shattered me, like I just said. And to be honest, I was an absolute terrible boyfriend. I will never downplay that. My girlfriend was lovely, she was sweet, intelligent, and caring, and I took it for complete and utter granted. I took that advice, the advice I'm giving today, and I took it to my next relationship. That next relationship lasted 3 years and we broke up due to circumstances. So I'm not going to say that I'm a therapist or I'm a physician, but I do have a little bit of anecdotal experience under my belt, and I do want to help anyone who's in the same position that I was when I was 18, because it was incredibly isolating. The first stage of a breakup is grief. Grief sets in usually for, in my case at least, a few days after the breakup. It's when you realize that person who was your best friend, the person that you spoke to every single day, the person you told everything, has gone. Grief deserves an allowance period, but it needs to be an allowance period. That means you only give it a certain amount of time, and after that you say, F it, we are going to work toward the best version of myself. In the stage of grief, you should be contacting all of your friends, venting to them, talking to your support systems in place. Guys, I cannot stress it enough. Humans intuitively want to help one another. People like to hear about your problems because they can help you solve it. Do not feel like you're in this alone whatsoever, because that's absolute bullshit. You should be able to vent and talk to anyone, and the same goes for depression or any mental illnesses. You should know that there are people that want to help you. Very important. Along with this, you should understand that how your brain's chemicals work, and we're talking serotonin, dopamine, they react in the same way as if someone has died. Research has shown that chemically you respond to it as if you've lost a loved one, and it genuinely feels like that the person has died. And metaphorically, they have died. They're never going to be in your life again, or most likely not. They shouldn't be. The stage of grief is to give this time. Give it time for your body to feel out yourself. Give yourself time to cry. Give yourself time to hate. Give yourself time to love. But give it time. After that time, it's time to move to the next stage. The second stage is healing. In the healing stage, it's pretty self-explanatory. It is time to try put in the steps to heal. From my experience and my observations, you have 3 ways of healing. The first is drugs, the second is flings, and the third is self-improvement. Now sometimes they can fall in order of, you take drugs, then you fling, and then you head to self-improvement, but in my honest opinion, you should choose one of the 3, and definitely not 2 of them. Now in my own personal experience, I never used drugs to try to get over a breakup, because to me, even when I was brokenhearted, when my friends wanted to go out and party, I just couldn't will myself to take a substance that I knew would clone my real or mask my emotions, because it wouldn't be addressing the issue. And I truly believe if you want to succeed with getting over your heartbreak, you need to man up or woman up and take it head on. You see, life's obstacles don't just disappear. Your emotions that you deal with, your heartbreak, any mental illnesses, they don't disappear. You've just chosen to shovel them away. They're still there. You've just decided to shovel them away. Whereas when you face them head on, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's not the easiest process. Hell, it took me 6 months to get over a breakup of 1.5 years. You know how that feels, waking up 6 months and feeling every day just like ass. You wake up, you're depressed. You wake up, you don't have drive. That is the kind of thing that you're in for. However, after those 6 months, in your period of healing, you have the opportunity to grow more than you've ever grown before in your life. The stage of healing should involve you now trying to address smaller things, trying to meet with your new and old friends and reconnect with people, trying to hear their stories, being relatable, having the ability to be open to influence. Very, very important. The third stage is improvement. Improvement is self-improvement and self-reflection. You guys might hate this, but it's a cold hard truth in my opinion. If you broke up with someone, it's because your relationship didn't work. Something didn't work. This is a very, 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 very unpopular opinion, but if you got cheated on, it's probably your fault. Now you might be wondering, what kind of a sane person says that? Now there are outliers, people who just cheat due to their own issues, but I promise you, if you reflect on relationships, if you see the downfall, you can point out where your mistakes were made, where mistakes were made, and in hindsight, you can see where you should have corrected it. However, you can take that forward into your next relationship. Self-improvement is the time that you have now to look back at where your mistakes were and fix them. Fix them for the sake of your future, for yourself. Fix them for the sake of your future relationships. Fix them for the sake of your future children. This is an opportunity to reflect, soak in information, and become the best version of yourselves before the next stage. Self-improvement should be a personal resume adjustment. It should be time that you take to heal, time that you take to build relationships, time that you take to become relatable, understand, empathize, sympathize. Time to do everything that you can to empower yourself to be the best version of yourself. It sounds cliche as hell, but honestly, it couldn't be truer. You can come out of this a superhuman. Start hitting the gym, start improving your hobbies, read multiple books. You have a lot more time now. Think about it, in a relationship, you spend a lot of time talking. My girlfriend is overseas and I still spend 3 hours a day talking to her, minimum. That's 3 hours that you could probably be reading a book, 3 hours you could be in the gym, 3 hours you could be doing anything to improve yourself. Get your resume stacked. Self-improvement is so important and it falls so much into the next stage. Now for self-improvement, I took the route of wanting to improve myself. It did take a long time to get there, but I knew that in order to actually beat this, I needed to improve myself. You see, flings aren't beneficial. You end up with a heart that hasn't been fully healed. Drugs just fill a void that doesn't actually, get the root of the cause. Improvement means you introspect, you feel out the emotions, and you work toward the next step. And that is why it is important for your healing to decide what you're going to do in this next step. In regards to my self-improvement, I became obsessive. in every aspect. I wanted to be the strongest person, I wanted to be the best person, I wanted to be the most intelligent person, I wanted to have a resume, like I said, that's incredibly stacked. This obsession led to my next relationships being a lot more curated and a lot more perfect than the previous ones. The fourth stage is reintegration into the dating game. Now some people, like I said, they do the fling thing and they just skip the stages and hit straight into reintegration to the dating game. You can take that approach, you can take a Tinder approach, you can take any approach you want. However, reintegration to the dating game should be done after you've improved yourself. Get yourself a resume that you are proud of. Become irreplaceable. Become competitive with yourself. Become such an asset that you cannot be someone that is just forgettable. In my relationship, I try to strive every single day to be the best boyfriend I possibly can. That means reflecting on my actions, reflecting on my girlfriend, reflecting on everything possible. Because if you can become the best boyfriend possible, it means you blow competition out of the water. It means you work harder than the next person. It means you do everything in your will to do the best for yourself. and that falls onto your relationship and your partner. The beauty of a breakup is you have the opportunity to now be the best version of yourself. You have the opportunity to be the best boyfriend ever. I'm not sure if that means anything to you, but to me, it's beautiful. It means that through a failure, you're able to elevate yourself and become such a stacked unit you can't be replaced. After these resume adjustments have been made, now you can consider dating, in my opinion. I wouldn't just jump in and do something casual. I would go and write a list of things that you want. You've been through a relationship. If the relationship was bad on their part and you had to end it, now you know what values you don't want out of a person. Write them down. Be so specific that you can narrow it down to 10 things that you absolutely want and absolutely do not want in a relationship. That might seem like you have one gem and you lost that gem. It's not true. What you guys establish in a relationship is what it becomes. This is so paramount. If you value communication, communication should be paramount in every relationship, period. But if you value communication, you will find someone who's a good communicator and you will work on it. You guys will establish it at the start that this has to be a paramount thing in the relationship. And that's how relationships go. Someone might not meet every little specific piece of your criteria, but you guys can develop it together. That's the beauty of a relationship. It's you working in unison to create something beautiful. After you've got all these values and everything that you know you want out of someone down, then in my opinion you're ready. If you've healed enough and you're ready to open your heart, then it's time to go out into the field. Keep in mind, you might be feeling like, damn, like I don't know if I'm ready to be hurt again. But in life, you choose who wants to hurt you. Remember that. In life, every person will break your trust and will hurt you, but it's choosing who you love enough and care enough about to let you hurt you. That's the difference. That's not a weakness. That's liberating. If you take that liberation and you carry it onto your own life and into every relationship, I promise you're going to end up a lot happier. My advice on where to find people in relationships would be, again, relative to what you want. Now, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say you are not going to find an angel at a nightclub. Most people don't go to nightclubs because they're trying to have a good time. They're trying to get a fling. You're not going to find a highly stable person in some trap house. You need to know the environments you choose to pick up people is what you're going to get. If you like highly intelligent people, you probably shouldn't be spending your time in a low intelligent environment. And I'm not trying to be judgmental, but this is just things that I value. I value good communication, high intelligence, looks, Like, if you value things, you need to go to places where you can find them. You're not going to look for gold on the ocean bed. Just use your brain and try to find the right things. One of the last things I want to say is just that this is a difficult process. A breakup is never an easy thing, and you'll probably find that you'll think about them for a very, very long time. And that's okay. Don't be discouraged, but know that you can get through this. Everyone does. You're not the first person in history to have a broken heart, and you're definitely not the last one. You'll probably explain to your children one day how you experienced it, and now you have a point of relatability to talk from. So I just want to say a big thank you for watching. This means so much to me. If any of my exes are watching this, I want to say thank you for helping me to become the person I'm today, and I'm sorry for at times being such a child, especially my first girlfriend. I would hate to have had dated me at that point in my life, but because of you I've been able to have such a improved quality of life, in all honesty. So you did carry my burden, and I feel bad about it, but thank you so much. If any of you are going through a hard time, breakup, anything, please message me on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you. I have no problem talking to anyone because this is a topic that means so much to me. And I'm not trying to sound cliche or cringy, but it genuinely means a lot to me because it's something that I went through and nearly took my life. So thank you again for watching. I hope you're staying safe and staying alright, and just know you're not alone.